Hi there, my name is Luke and today I'm going to teach you how to play Regicide, a cooperative card game played with a standard deck of cards. In Regicide, 2 to 4 players work together to defeat the corrupted royalty. The players win when the last king has been defeated, but if any player should die, they all lose. Let's take a look at how to set up the game. Shuffle the 4 kings and place them face down in a pile on the table. Do the same thing for the queens and place them on top of the kings. And then do the same for the 4 jacks. This is the castle deck. Turn over the top card of the castle deck. This becomes the current enemy and the first one we'll need to defeat. Take the remaining cards and check in the rules to see if we should add any jesters. We'll demonstrate a 3-player game today, so we'll need to add 1. Shuffle the cards together and place them to one side. This is the tavern deck where we deal and draw cards from. Deal cards to each player up to their maximum hand size. For 3 players, that is 6 cards. And for today's example, we'll play with open hands, but in Regicide, you are not allowed to talk about the cards in your hand. Unless you're learning and you just kind of want to. That's fine, we don't care. So let's start with player 1 here. On their turn, a player will play a card from their hand to deal damage to the current enemy in order to defeat it. The number of the card determines the attack value, while the suit provides a special power. Each turn has 4 steps. Step 1. Play a card from hand to attack the enemy. Here, player 1 plays the 6 of clubs, which means it attacks for 6. Step 2 is to activate the suit power. Red suit powers are resolved now in step 2, but black suit powers take effect in later steps. Clubs are your brutal warriors. In this case, the suit power of clubs is that it deals double damage. So instead of 6, this card will actually do 12. Step 3 is to deal that damage to the enemy and check if it's dead. Jacks have 20 health, so by dealing 12 we're over halfway, but he's not dead yet. In step 4, the enemy strikes back. The turn player has to suffer an attack from the enemy by discarding cards up to the value of its attack. In this case, the jack attacks player 1 for 10, so player 1 needs to discard cards with a total value of at least 10. In this case, an 8 and a 3 will cover it. Animal companions only count for 1 when discarding them. If a player cannot fully satisfy an attack from an enemy, that player dies and all players lose the game. Once step 4 is over, we move to the next player starting in step 1. And here player 2 plays a card, the 6 of spades. Spades are your shield-wielding paladins. Activating the suit power of spades in step 2 means that the enemy's attack is reduced by the attack value of our shields. This effect is ongoing and cumulative, so instead of hitting us back for 10 in step 4, player 2 only has to take a hit for 4. Next is step 3 where we deal damage and check to see if the enemy is defeated. 12 from player 1 plus 6 from player 2 is 18. So close! Not dead yet, so we move to step 4 where player 2 takes the hit for 4 by discarding a 6 of hearts. Over to player 3 now, who plays the 4 of diamonds. In step 2, we activate the card suit power. Diamonds are your masters of arcane knowledge. The power of diamonds is that it draws the player's cards. The current player draws a card, and then the other players follow in clockwise order until a number of cards have been drawn equal to the attack value played. So the players collectively draw 4 cards. Players may never draw over their maximum hand size, and players that have reached their maximum hand size are skipped. In step 3, when dealing damage and checking the enemy's health, we find that the players have now dealt 22 damage, which is enough to kill the enemy. Nice! All cards played go to the discard pile, along with the defeated enemy. Because the enemy is defeated, they can't hit us back, so we skip step 4. The action stays with player 3 though, and now they must face the next enemy first, starting again in step 1. Player 3 plays a 5 of hearts in step 1, and in step 2 we activate its suit power. Hearts are your healing clerics. To heal with hearts, you shuffle the discard pile, then count out a number of cards face down equal to the attack value played. Place them under the tavern deck without peeking, then return the discard pile to the table face up. You're not allowed to look through the discard pile at any time. In step 3, we see that the enemy isn't defeated with just 5 damage having been dealt to an enemy with 20 health. So moving to step 4, player 3 has to take 10 damage. 8 plus 4 is more than enough. In step 1, you can play an animal companion on its own, or better yet, pair it with one other card. Animal companions only count for 1, but you get to add their power also. So when player 1 plays the animal companion of diamonds and the 5 of spades, we add them together. 1 plus 5 is 6, and in step 2, we get to do both powers at 6. In this case, that means that the players draw 6 cards, and the enemy's attack is reduced by 6. Wow, that's nice. A quick check in step 3 shows that the enemy isn't defeated yet, so player 1 has to take a hit of 4 damage in the final step. 4 of clubs does the trick. Player 2 gets to play now, and this enemy only has 9 health remaining. Normally the 5 of clubs would hit for double damage and deal a fatal 10, But it's not quite that simple. You see, each enemy has a suit, and they are immune to powers of their own suit. Player 2 can still play the 5, but it will only deal 5, not 10, which isn't too flash. Fortunately for player 2, they have another option. In step 1, cards can be comboed as pairs or sets as long as the total of those cards adds up to 10 or less. So you can play a pair of 5s or less, triple 3s and 2s, or even quad 2s if you get them all. In this case, player 2 is going to play 3 2s, and they work similar to animal companions. They are totaled, and then all effects are resolved where possible for that amount. In step 2, player 2 gets to heal for 6, and they'll shield for 6, but it doesn't deal double damage due to the immunity of the jack. On to step 3, and we see that the enemy is not yet defeated with only 3 to go, but the attack of the enemy has been fully neutralized thanks to the shield 6 of player 1 and the shield 6 of player 2. So in step 4, no damage is suffered by the player. Player 3 plays the 3 of diamonds for the kill. The players draw cards and the enemy is defeated, so they don't get a chance to strike back. Something important has happened here though. The players managed to defeat the enemy with the exact damage by playing the 3 when the enemy had 3 health remaining. When an enemy is defeated by the exact amount, they are placed on top of the tavern deck instead of the discard pile. This is a huge bonus because the enemies in your hand count as a card of their suit at a value equal to their attack. So this jack works the same as a 10 of clubs. Queens count as a 15 when you play them, and kings count as a 20. The jack of spades is a nasty one, and he's immune to the power of shields, so playing the pair of 3 set isn't great. Player 3 has the jester though, and in step 1 the jester can be played on its own to cancel the immunity of the enemy. Not only that, but the player of the jester skips the remaining steps, so they don't have to suffer damage, and they choose who plays next. Players are not allowed to share the content of their hands, but they can express their desire or reluctance to go next. In this case, player 2 says that he is really keen to go next, so player 3 chooses him. Player 2 leads off with Animal Companion of Hearts and the 9 of Spades. 9 plus 1 is 10, so 10 cards are healed and the enemy's attack is reduced by 10. The shield effect works against the Jack of Spades because its immunity was cancelled. No damage to take here thanks to shields, and so player 3 plays the 10 of diamonds for a whole bunch of card draw and an exact damage kill. The Jack of Clubs makes short work of the next enemy. 10 at double damage is 20 for another exact kill. Player 3 leads off against the Queen of Diamonds. Queens are bad news because they have 30 health and hit back for 15. A pair of 3s is good here, shielding for 6 and dealing 12 damage. The hit from the Queen for 15 is reduced by 6, so player 3 just has to satisfy 9 damage. An 8 and an Animal Companion of Clubs for 1 is just enough. Player 1 plays the 10 of Spades, fully blocking the enemy's attack. She's still alive though, so over to player 2. Player 2 plays the 7 of Hearts, and 7 cards are healed. Only 1 to go now. Now player 3 has a card to play, but playing it now would actually be terrible since the enemy would be killed and player 3 would then have to face the next enemy, dying straight away. Fortunately, players are allowed to yield instead of playing a card. This means that you can skip step 1, but you still have to take the hit in step 4. Fortunately, in this case, the enemy doesn't deal any damage, so the team lives to fight another day. All players are not allowed to yield consecutively. Player 1 finishes the Queen using the 2 of Diamonds. No cards are drawn due to immunity, but the Queen is dead. Against the next Queen, player 1 leads off with a 9 of Diamonds, and things are starting to look a little more rosy for our brave adventurers. We'll leave them for now, but if they go on to defeat all remaining enemies in the castle deck, they will be victorious. But remember, if a player cannot discard enough cards to satisfy the damage of an enemy, all players lose the game. I hope you have as much fun playing Regicide as we have.